When people bring up top 5, top 10, now you are getting insulting. There are not 4 players in NBA history better than LeBron James. That is a lie. Okay, and David Falk knows that.
There are not 4 players in NBA history better than LeBron James. That is a lie. Okay, and David Falk knows that.
Fam, put the fire department on speed dial before you watch this video. We're not gonna cook today. We about to burn some shit down. Period. Stephen A. Smith just called it a lie and an insult to leave LeBron out of the top 5. But I'm telling you right now, I got a list of players that I draft before him, maybe even 9. And trust me, you're gonna want to hear this one, fam. Facts. See, that contract, it might have tightened the leash on that collar. The first take segment with Smith, Jay Williams, and Brian Windhorst, we're gonna break down because it's one of the worst I've heard in a minute. I can't let these fools do it, fam. I got a top 5 and arguably a top 9 players I might pick before LeBron. So y'all gotta get in the comments and talk back to me on this one. Tell me if I'm bugging, but you can't just watch a piece of the video, then jump in the comments, typing your fingers or running your gums or whatever it is that you do. You gotta be able to talk sense. You gotta have all the information before I can take you seriously. David Falk, legendary sports agent whose biggest client was Michael Jordan, set the internet on fire a couple of days ago, as y'all all know by now, right? And LeBron stands, they don't know what to do with themselves, you know. And I'm talking about the honey on the nipples crew, the twerkettes, you know, the king milk drinkers, lost their rabbit ass minds. They know what to do with themselves. Falk said in a nutshell that Jordan would have 15 rings if he cherry picked his teams. He also said LeBron is maybe or probably in his top 10. He also said he had Kobe and Kareem as 2 behind Jordan. Is he wrong? That's what I want to know, gang. But then, here comes Stephen A. He follows up in this upcoming segment I'm going to play for you and acts as if not having LeBron in your top 5 is the worst thing in the universe. As if it is a strike against God not to have LeBron in your top 5, fam. Stephen A. Smith, are you out your rabbit ass mind, fam? Facts. Matter of fact, after I play the segment for you, I have, like I told you before, I got a list of players I would draft before LeBron, knowing what I know now. Are you kidding me? Nah, Stephen A., you look very fiend-pious on this one, fam. Respectfully. Because as smart as you are, and as much as a basketball aficionado that Stephen A. Smith is, he really fixed his face and said what he said. You know how they used to say it? Fuck out of here. Alright. So I'm about to play the full segment so you can hear all the nonsense Stephen A. Smith, Jay Williams, and Brian Windhorst was spitting. But before I do, let me remind y'all, I got 5 players I draft before LeBron coming up. And spoiler alert, LeBron might not even make the cut of the top 9 or 10. Stick with me and let's break this down. Roll a clip.
Taking a look at this quote. Speaking at Sports Business Journal's conference earlier this week, Michael Jordan's longtime agent David Falk said LeBron is probably in his top 10 players of all time and went on to say this, quote, "I really like LeBron, but I think if Jordan had cherry-picked what teams he wanted to be on and had 2 other superstars, he would have won 15 championships." Stephen A., your reaction?
He was at a business conference, but obviously the cameras are rolling, microphones are on. I think it was an unnecessary shot at LeBron James. And I also think that it was a bit excessive because LeBron James is one of the top 2 or 3 players in the history of basketball. When people bring up top 5, top 10, now you are getting insulting. There are not 3 players, 4 players in NBA history better than LeBron James. That is a lie, okay? And David Falk knows that. Having said that, he ain't lying about the comparison to Jordan. If Jordan had picked to assemble a super team, you damn right he would have won about 10 titles, if not more. That's absolutely true. But that's not what Jordan did. And in the end, what LeBron is going to have to live with is the fact that you joined Miami for your first 2 titles. You went back to Cleveland, but there was Kyrie Irving, and the team was compelled to acquire Kevin Love, which obviously helped you. And then when you went to Los Angeles, you obviously got Anthony Davis. And so people are going to look at that and judge him accordingly, as opposed to somebody that stayed with one team, built it, won there first, last, and always. And that's going to be, in some people's eyes anyway, a blemish. I have no problem with that if the comparison is against Jordan. I do have a problem with it if you then try to look at LeBron and try to act like he's barely scratching the top 10 or whatever. LeBron James, in my estimation, is one of the top 2 players in the history of basketball. And if you want to drop him to 3 because of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's resume, which is impeccable and beats because he's won on every level, I get that part. But LeBron James, to me, is top 2 all time. I don't want to hear top 5, don't want to hear top 10.
Yeah, David Falk is one of the greatest agents of all time. Not only the deals he made with Michael Jordan, but some other business deals he's made that are really historic. He's kind of telling on himself a little bit here when he says probably top 10. He's telling on himself that he's not making an honest assessment. But we'll move past that. I do think it's an interesting thing to say what would happen if Jordan played in the modern era. Absolutely, especially like in 1998, when the Bulls were exhausted as a franchise, when Pippen was done, when Phil Jackson was done, when the Bulls management was done spending money. If Jordan didn't want to retire, if he wanted to move on, he absolutely could have won more titles. I don't think it's arguable at all. But if we're going to have the discussion about time and place, let's have the full discussion, because you can't just you can't cherry pick it. What if Hakeem Olajuwon decided to go team up with Karl Malone and John Stockton, like Kevin Durant went to the Warriors? What if after winning 1 title with Jordan at age 25, which is when Scottie Pippen, the same age as Kyrie Irving, what if Scottie Pippen wanted to trade to the New York Knicks? Because that's what happened with Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving at age 25, after 1 title, forced his way out of Cleveland. What if Jordan was playing against a team like LeBron did when he had to go up against the super team that was formed in Boston with Garnett and Ray Allen and Paul Pierce? Sure, Jordan, if he wanted to cherry pick, absolutely could have done so. No question he could have won more titles. No doubt about that. But you can't look at it without looking at what was else happening in the league, what was going on around LeBron. And obviously LeBron is going to pay a price for going to Miami. People will always feel a certain way about that. But again, if you want to look at the full 360 degrees, if you want to say Kareem is up there, that's totally fine. You can make your case for Kareem. I'm not going to fight that. Kareem forced a trade that ended up being on a super team in Los Angeles. So I'm fine. If you just want to denigrate LeBron, which is what David Falk wanted to do, go for it. He can do it. It's his prerogative, whatever. But don't throw that out without having a more fair way to look at it.
Well, Wendy, I'm not going to allow David Falk to do that. And I think David Falk was a brilliant agent. And I think he's built a brilliant business. But to me, this one, that feels personal. That feels personal. So, it's interesting. Times reveal different opportunities for different players. And LeBron James was very fortunate with the time that he played in that Michael Jordan opened these doors, because Michael Jordan was a free agent twice in his career, right? These were longer term deals that these guys had back then. And then Michael decided to sign a series of 1-year deals, right? But also, when you look back on it, Michael Jordan had one of the greatest coaches of all time in Phil Jackson. He had a great front office that helped him in drafting Scottie Pippen and other players that helped him win championships. And, whenever somebody says terminology like cherry picking, that still doesn't get the job done. There was still a passing of the torch that happened between Dwayne Wade and LeBron James. LeBron James then did go back to Cleveland. I mean, Kyrie Irving hit one of the biggest shots in NBA basketball history for him to win a world championship. Then obviously going to LA, winning the game in a bubble. So like all of a sudden, it just diminishes the leadership. It diminishes the adaptability. It diminishes the greatness overall when you just speak flippantly about a player that is one of the best to ever do it. It's fine if you have more of allegiance towards Michael Jordan, but that just feels extremely personal to me, Stephen A. It doesn't feel objective at all.
Well, I'm not refuting what you say, and I'll elaborate on your point in a minute. But just for clarification purposes, would you tell our audience why you feel it's personal? Specify where would the personal come from? What do you think is personal? Why do you think David Falk will be personal in this particular evaluation? Why do you think he's doing it?
You can answer questions in a lot of different ways. Stephen A., you and I go to a lot of these, right? I see it all the time at different sports conferences where it's like, okay, that's a set me up question, right? I know there are cameras everywhere. I know what conference I'm at. Like, Stephen A., I've seen you at play. You are brilliant at setting the kitchen table for what you want to talk about. So for me, that seems premeditated. That doesn't just pop off the head. Okay. It's like, okay, I'm going to use this moment to say this specifically. To me, that is a...
All right. So where I'm going to start at, y'all. I know y'all want to hear my top 5 players I would pick before LeBron. But we're going to start at the bottom with Jay Williams' tape. All right? I swear, no lie, when I hear Molly and I hear him, my skin starts to cringe, fam. Literally chills. My eardrums want to explode. That ass. First, Jay, who the hell are you talking about? I'm not going to let David Falk get away with that. Are you serious, fam? You're a peon. You're a goofy. All of the shots LeBron, Rich Paul, the clutch media plants spread throughout Yahoo Sports and all of these basketball periodicals. All the shots that they've taken at 90s basketball, at Jordan, at Kobe. The one time somebody with serious clout stands up and shoots back, y'all getting y'all panties? It sounds personal. And you can miss me, Jay Williams. Now hear me out. When it comes to hoops, Jay Williams is one of the top 15 college players in history. Right? As a pro, even before his bike accident, I wasn't impressed. But he's still an A1 hooper, facts. But behind a mic, this dude is one of the fakest I've ever seen. It's only one time out of 1,000 I thought he was being authentic. And that was when Kyrie was semi-canceled because he shared a video on his IG. Jay Williams did like an off-script live, and he let his true emotions out, and I supported that. Other than that, this dude is a bozo in terms of media authenticity. Sorry, not sorry. Brian Windhorst. Brian Windhorst is Brian Windhorst. What can you expect from him? LeBron straight castrated him publicly, and he still kisses the ring for that fool. There's nothing to say there. Okay? Now, Stephen A. Smith, his comments are where I was triggered. There's not 5 players in NBA history better than LeBron? Negro, is you crazy? But hold on. It wasn't that he just said that. He doubled down and said it was an insult if LeBron wasn't in the top 5, fam. Just to prove how idiotic his statement was. In my opinion, maybe I'm the idiot. I'm gonna start my top 5. I'm gonna start with my top 5 that I would draft over LeBron, knowing what I know now. And I want y'all to get in the comments and tell me what you think about my top 5, but also give me yours. Or you know what? Tell me that I'm batshit crazy. But in no particular order. All right? 1, Jordan, of course. Ding, ding, ding. 2, Kobe. Why not? 3, Bird. Why not? 4, Magic. Why not? 5, Shaq. Why not? 6, Hakeem, why not? 7, Kareem, why not? 8, Steph, why not? 9, Will, why not? And at 10, Tim Duncan or LeBron. Huh? Talk back to me. Hey, now, you can flip a coin with Tim Duncan or LeBron. But give me any of these players to start my franchise with. Knowing what we know now, you can't go wrong. Tell me how. Nothing but killers and winners on that list. And also for the slow people. A lot of guys on this list, on my list, guess what they did? They excelled at defense as well. All right? And why wouldn't you pick Steph? He does have a winning final record, doesn't he? He has as many championships, doesn't he? You can build a freaking team around him, can't you? He can play off the ball, can't he? And Kobe. Yeah, LeBron may beat Kobe in stats by a very small margin. But is Kobe a winner? He has a winning finals record as well, right? And when it comes to crunch time, who do you want with the ball? What do you want? You want somebody that's going to say, oh, you know what? I made the right play. I passed the ball to one of my other teammates who was under duress. Or you want somebody who's in a timeout going to look around and he going to say, I got this. And he going to take you to the promised land. That's Kobe. So at the end of the day, what was Stephen A. talking about, fam? David Falk was absolutely on the money when he said maybe top 10. Yes? Yo, is it really an insult or crazy as Stephen A. insinuates? See, it's not. But this is why we got to stop listening to these people like it's the freaking gospel. But y'all know the drill. Jump in the comments and bust your guns, fam. Bombarize. Tell me your thoughts and where you land on this. On your way out, if you vibe with the channel, hit the like, man, and let me know what's up, gang. And if you're new and you enjoy the vibes, go ahead and subscribe. Let your voice be heard. Till the next video, keep it real with yourself first. Be safe and God bless.